I can't wait. Yeah, she drives a truck.
Gordon from YouTube.
Oh my god!
Hi, Mikey!
I'm gonna want to know what you two are talking about.
Well, hello to another week and another Loose Ends with Mikey. How are you, Mikey?
I am great. I've been cleaning all day. How do I say our guest's first name tonight?
It's Marie, right?
It's Maury.
Oh,
Maury.
see, I even had the accente in the wrong spot.
That's fine. I've been called a lot of things. Just
This is gonna go down.
some of them we'll just leave to everybody's imagination.
Yeah, but hey, I must not have actually said your name out loud, just in my head. But it's so great to have her joining us today. I am super excited for all the things that she would like to share with you. And we have an assortment of her crochet that she has sent, and maybe an extra little surprise for Michael.
Oh, I heard just in the last 10 seconds before we went to air, just throw him under the bus. So I have no idea what's going to happen on tonight's broadcast.
I might have been talking about the tour.
Yeah.
I might have been talking about the tour, but it certainly applies to this as well.
Yeah. So just life, right? Life.
Yeah. So most of everybody, I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to speak with you tonight, because most of the people who are following us also know that our very first Nova Scotia Experience Tour starts, well, Saturday morning, but Michael and I go to the airport to meet the crocheters who have already started to arrive in Nova Scotia.
Oh my God. What a disaster that has been, honestly.
Disaster.
Oh,
Maury, these people are like getting flight cancellations and flight delays because it apparently is just a little bit of thunder somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a little drizzle.
But hey, they planned ahead, Michael, right? They planned ahead and they came in extra early. So
2 days early, thank God for that.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
anyway,
The weather's been a little, you just never know.
Yeah, one of our guests went from Denver and they totally diverted the plane to Nebraska. So she's even further away from us.
Oh, no.
So
She's
anyway,
getting a big tour.
that poor woman. So anyway, for those that are just joining us, we do a broadcast on Thursdays. We have a lot of new people. We were on the CBC, Canadian National Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Anyway, we were on CBC earlier this week, and we do a broadcast called Loose Ends every Thursday at 8 p.m. Atlantic time, 7 p.m. Central. And anyway, our guests that we have are coordinated. They actually applied to come onto the show. Karen does the vetting for the show, and then I do not know who the guest is prior to coming on broadcast, so I just wing it because that's what I do the best. So tonight we have Maury, and Maury's going to tell us, so where are you from? What's your quick story, Maury?
I am in Illinois. I live about an hour south of Chicago in a very small town. Very small town. So I've lived here my whole life, and I work at a school. I'm working on actually becoming a teacher. I'm a classroom assistant right now, and I'm working on becoming a teacher. I student teach in the fall, so I'm very excited about that. I'm married and have a daughter, and my family and everybody's here in town. So yeah, that's pretty much the.
So you're very comfortable in hour south. Do you go to Chicago often?
I used to, but not really anymore. No, I don't. I don't know. I probably once upon a time I'd be like, oh, to live in the city for like a year would be a great experience. Now I'm like, I don't want to even drive up there for like an event. I mean, I will, but it's just, to me, it's a bigger to do than it probably should be. But
you sound like you're comfortable wherever you're living. Like it just, you don't have a need. I thought I'd be in the city all the time and I barely go.
Yeah.
I'm quite, maybe that's age. Is that
I
age?
think it is, because I used to go up there a lot. Like we just take, like my friends and I would just go up there for the day during the summer and go hang out by the pier or the beach or wherever. And now I'm like, doesn't really thrill me anymore.
Yes.
So
do you have any craft stores local to where you live, or?
we probably about 20 to 30 minutes away. There's a fabric store, but as far as like yarn stores, there was one about 45 minutes away, but like a lot of them have closed. There was a Joann's and a Michael. There is a Michael's about 30 minutes away from me in a town called Joliet. That's north, like on the way to Chicago. So I go there a lot for any of my crafts, anything. Our Joann's, like a lot of other people's, closed, which was very sad. And but yeah, so there are some local long yarn shops here and there, but not super close. It's a almost like a day trip. It'll be a little bit of a trip for me to go to.
How was your feelings about Joann closing its doors? Did that impact you in a way that you felt something inside?
I did. I just remember probably a little like sentimental, like maybe a lot of other people, but for me it was my grandma and my mom used to always get the flyers in the mail, and they always made sure they made a trip because you had to scan your flyer. This is a long time ago. You had to scan your flyer to keep getting them. And so I just remember always going to the store with my grandma and my mom. And now like I started taking my daughter up there too. So I was very sad. It just felt like a little bit of my childhood and growing up kind of went away with my family, with having that connection with my family and the crafting with my mom and my grandma too. So yeah, it hit a little bit hard, to be honest. I was very sad.
I was thinking, I've been cleaning a lot this week because we have our crocheters showing up here. We have a rule of no company, so it's been a little bit stressful because it's just people showing up and you actually have to put stuff away. But I was thinking as I was cleaning, is like the word Bernat, as far as the brand, is my go-to home brand that I love. And I was thinking, and it's so funny you mentioned this, is that I was thinking that it reminds me so much of my mom. It's not just the yarn, but it's like what mom would have used. And when I hear the word Bernat or I see the label, I'm almost thinking that my mom is sitting beside me, kind of just being a part of my life in some way. Mm-hmm. And I was just really kind of thinking that it's more than just a brand. Joann for you is more than just a store, but it's such a nostalgia, but also connection,
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it did bring a lot of memories back, like just starting to think about when they would announce that they were closing and stuff like that. So, I actually met you at a Joann store as well a long time ago in Ohio.
In Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Cleveland show that we did, or the Cleveland?
I think so.
Yeah.
It was when they did the rebranding and like the big yarn wall in the back with the stores and everything, and they were introducing the temperature, the Red Heart, the yarn that would activate with heat.
The heat wave, yes.
The heat wave, yes. I could think of it.
I still have that yarn. Do you still have that yarn?
I don't. I used a lot of it. I might have like a skein or two, but I used a lot of it. I made my daughter a pair of like fingerless gloves for her Halloween costume that year, because it snows sometimes on Halloween here. So yeah, I do. I used a lot of that yarn for hats and a bunch of other stuff too.
It's kind of funny. So for those joining us at home, there was a brand called Red Heart Heat Wave, and this yarn would actually heat up in the light. It didn't have to be sunlight, but it was activated by UV. It was actually NASA technology where there was a fiber inside that would just activate. And I made actually a pair of fingerless mittens that I needed for an island, the Isle de Madeleine, in the coast. And I was so shocked just having my hands just warm up within the light. Of course, in the night, there's no light, so then you're screwed. But I was just really amazed with that yarn. And I'm just it's kind of gone, but I have it here, so I'm not getting whatever.
Yeah, that yarn was kind of, I don't know, it's just pretty impressive as far as like you said, how much it would warm up.
Yes. So what is your favorite brand of yarn then, Maury?
I use a lot of Bernat. I also use a lot of Red Heart. I do use some Lion brand as well, but mostly like Red Heart, and I like Karen Simply Soft too. I really do like that. I like the just how soft it is, and it seems like it works really well. And it's got like a sheen to it. I feel like it's got that look to it. So depending on what I'm making, I feel like it gives it a little bit of a different look to it.
So why does Karen Simply Soft have a sheen and maybe Red Heart and Bernat doesn't? Do you know?
I don't know really. I don't know if it's like something that they, with the fiber.
Hold on. This is him saying, "Oh, test me. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm going to fail miserably. But yeah, something with the fiber, I'm sure the blend of it.
It's a premium yarn. So with premium acrylic, they can actually dye the colors so much more vibrant and has that luster sheen to it because of the level of fiber that it is. It's like when you compare Red Heart Super Saver versus Red Heart with Love. With Love is a better fiber, so therefore it can be dyed in a better color. It's just the better quality, the better the color. And it's actually, I really like Caron Simply Soft. I like how light it is. Some people don't like it because it splits, and it splits because it's high end. It's not high end.
That does drive me crazy that it splits, but yeah.
But that's what makes it a really good wearable, because if you have if the fibers are not sticking like that, they flex with you instead of making you look like you're in a paper bag. So it's a really kind of neat. It's a really neat yarn. So what is your go-to to making then, Maury?
Lately I've been making Afghans. My daughter wants to give gifts away for a couple of the girls that she goes to her dance studio with, or dance school with. So they're graduated. So we looked up their school colors, and we're just doing she's making a couple of them. So we're just doing like a double crochet Afghan, just striping out of the different colors. So lately it's been Afghans. I do a lot of like little amigurumi. There's one. I made that one for my dad, actually.
Wow, I love the texture, Maury. I love it.
Thank you. That's a Caron cake.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yeah,
that was made out of a cake, the Caron cakes. I made it so long ago I can't even remember.
It's okay. It looks like it's the big cakes, possibly, but I like the Caron big cakes because you don't have to worry about changing color. Just let it do what it wants to do.
Yep, I made quite a few Afghans with that. Yep, because I just liked how it just changed, and you could just crochet. You didn't have to stop and like change colors, and just sit and do whatever, watch TV or listen to a book or whatever, and just crochet. Just sit and crochet and enjoy.
So somebody said that the color's probably Nightberry, Caron Big Cakes Nightberry. Yeah, I think that's probably right. I sometimes think that when the yarn changes, why does it change at this exact moment? Why couldn't it waited a little bit longer? Do you ever feel like that when it's changing and you really kind of don't want it to change, but then you go with it anyway?
Yeah. Yep. Because then I'm like, should I have like kind of cut it out and like I call it like fussy cutting. I guess that's a term that from my quilting and stuff like that I've done. But yeah, like kind of cut out the colors and manipulate them a little bit. This this Afghan that she's that's on right now, that one, it looks like it kind of almost did it naturally. I don't know if it just worked out, but it almost looks like the colors, it did go naturally with the striping. I didn't cut it, I didn't change it or anything, but yeah.
There is they've actually, the design team at Yarn Inspirations has figured out a magic calculation. I don't know how they've done it, so don't ask me how, but they determined that
geniuses.
Well, I don't know about that, but there is apparently some kind of mathematical calculation where that if you do a certain size, that the cakes actually do a job like what you're doing. So when it gets much bigger, then it doesn't do that. But there's I remember them telling me that because when they first launched the cake shop, a lot of their stuff was like, wow, how in the hell did you do that? And they said it's all about the distance of the stitches, like from the striping. So if I ever figure that out, I'm going to run away with that.
Yeah, I don't know how they would do that. I'm not big on math, so hats off to them.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because as a crocheter, when you start a project, you tend to be a lot tighter than once you understand the pattern. Then you get a little bit looser because you just sit back and relax. Do you find that?
Yes, I find that like my chain, I try to remember to chain loosely when I'm first starting, but I couldn't tell you how many times I've had to frog out or rip the first couple rows because as I go, I can tell it's pulling a little bit, and I feel like, all right, well, I need to start over again. Otherwise, I just feel like it's not going to look right. It's going to look kind of wonky on the bottom. But
why don't you so if you're going too tight, why don't you just increase your hook size just because you're a tight chainer, and then change your hook back to first row?
I have done that. because I feel like also if I want it, I don't know. I feel like if I go up, I'm always worried. I guess I like to follow the pattern. And sometimes if there isn't a pattern, I will go by the hook size that's recommended for the yarn. But I have done that a couple times. Like if I just feel like I can't get that chain like where I need it, I will go up hook size. Instead
Now,
of ripping it, like trying and trying again and ripping it out, depending on what I'm doing. But yeah.
do you use the chain on the back hump, or do you like use two strands when you're going into the chain?
I usually do 2 strands.
And two strands. So my mom used to teach me two strands, but then one side of my blanket, when I finished, I'm like, God, this edge looks like shit. And the final edge looks great. And then somebody taught me, when I don't even know who it was, but if you go in the back hump, then both edges look the same. But the only time that never works is when it's a big thick yarn like burnout blanket. It makes the edges look open. So anyway, because I thought to my mom, I'm like, there's no way I can do a border because there's just one strand left when you go all the way around.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just did 2 extremely good tips about the back hump for a chain and going up the crochet size if you're chaining too tight, because I am guilty of that all the time. That's excellent. I love it. But I popped in because I have something staring at me here in behind the scenes that I happen to know was the project that she first found you at, Michael.
Ooh.
And I thought you really need to talk about that because, you know, a lot of us are wondering, you know, we find Michael in very different ways, right? And Michael is we were talking about Afghans, and if I was watching from home, I would think that was how you found him through all of your Afghan work. But it's not. I'm going to poof out and let you chat about that one because it's a fun one.
See if she shares it.
Oh my God, you did one of those. Oh my God, that's probably 2013.
I want to say because it was a year. My daughter was a year old, and I made it for her. Although she didn't use it that year. Well, I did. I carried it for her, but I made it, and it's the reflective yarn.
Yes, I can see
the picture.
I can see that. So for those at home, this is Red Heart reflective yarn, and when light hits this particular project, it actually reflects backward, especially if it hits a flash of light. It's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I made hats out of that, and like ear warmers and stuff like that because I run. So at night, or if I was early in the morning, I would make stuff out of that too.
I need to.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I am so sorry, Michael. I just really needed to share that because one, I thought that was really brilliant because finding you for a project that's not something that's usually what people think of you with, but the yarn itself was really fascinating too. So I just really wanted to highlight it. Sorry about that.
Yeah. You know what? One thing, Daniel actually has a knit hat with this yarn. And so him and I used to walk around the neighborhood when we lived back in Ontario. And it's kind of interesting. As soon as the car hits it, it just reflected. And this is one of the yarns that I still wish I had in my collection today.
Yeah.
That is long gone.
Yeah, I wish it was so bright. I was surprised how bright it was too when it would reflect.
I remember when we were, it was called the Craft and Hobby Association, and it was behind the scenes show when Red Heart launched that, and they said it's reflective, and I'm like, yeah, and grab your phone and make it flash, and I was floored. I'm like, how in the hell did you guys do that? Like it's just amazing how yarn has been changing over the years.
Yeah, I think I took when I first made that, and I had never made a bag before, so like you kind of got me out of my shell and stuff with amigurumi and other things too, just going off of that bag. But when I first made that, I took a picture of it and I'm like, oh, let me see if it'll work with the flash, or like I shut the light off. I don't know how I took the other picture. So I did 2 side by sides because of course I had to share it on Facebook when I made it. I was like, look what I did, you know? So yeah, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and so those patterns are still around if anybody's at home looking for those things. We actually did a cowl with those. Their bag, the Halloween bag was done. Like the hats were just amazing. So I think there's some yarns. Yarnspirations was asking me last year if I had a magic wand, what yarns would I resurrect from the dead? And I completely forgot about that yarn. That's one I would consider.
Yeah. It was. I wish they would have, like, sometimes every once in a while I find yarn in my stash. I'm like, oh, I wish they still had this, or because I have one skein left or something like that. But But the reflective was kind of just that wow factor.
Have you ever thought about emailing your inspirations and requesting, saying, by the way, I really love this yarn. If you guys are ever rethinking about a relaunch, I would love to see this again, because they actually listen to the consumers for that kind of stuff. And if there's enough people that want something to be resurrected, they'll think about it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. I probably should do that. I've heard you recommend that before, but yeah, I should, because it's a good, like I said, I run, and like you said, with walking and stuff, it's a good yarn to use for hats and different things like that.
Oh yeah, and especially that was a Halloween bag too. Like as you alluded to, like our weather here, our southern U.S. have no idea, but these our Halloween outfits get ruined by snowsuits because it can actually snow by Halloween where we are.
Yeah, so between the reflective yarn and the heat yarn, that's been like the go-to for my Halloween costumes for my daughter and stuff. It's been great.
So you are basically crocheting because of weather, like in the sense of like for warmth.
Yeah, depending on the time of the year. A lot of times I will crochet little, like last Christmas or 2 Christmases ago, I crocheted stockings for my daughter's class, like 25 of them. And then of course they were little ones, but still my hands were like not happy with me at the end of making all of those, because I tend to push my time limit sometimes, but I made 25 of those, and then I've made like Valentine's Day I made little fortune cookies, and then I printed out nice little messages for my daughter, for her to put in, just to hand to a few friends and different things like that. So I've always made little amigurumi critters or gifts and stuff for her, mostly for school.
Now there's your fortune cookies. Now when you're doing something like this, you get this idea, I'm going to make 25 stockings. Is there ever a point that you say, what the hell was I doing?
Yes. Probably on the first one I make, I'm like, oh my gosh, one down and I have this many more to go. Like I must have had like what the hell was I thinking? There's no way. But
I think we should coin that, Marie. People at home can comment to this. I think we should call it crochet remorse. Where you're like, oh shit, what was I thinking? Now oh my god, look at all these snowballs.
Yeah, the little snow. Yeah. That was a pattern. It was supposed to be like a snowman. I just did the heads. I'm like, I don't have to. That was what the hell am I doing to myself? I just did the heads instead of like the whole body, because there was no way I was going to have enough time. So I just did those instead. But they turned out.
If the world was perfect and I had time, I would love to crochet an entire Christmas tree of nothing but crochet ornaments.
Yes.
And it would be stuff like that. Yarn Inspirations has this really stupid collection that is amazing. It's all based on food. I think it's French fries, pizza.
Oh, yes. I've seen those. A donut. There's a donut.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm like, I would love to do it. But then I realized, oh, god damn, my tree is 7 feet tall and it's going to take forever. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I tend to lose a lot of sleep when I'm working on stuff like that.
So are you a one more row before I go to bed kind of person?
Yes. And the next thing I know, it's like 2 a.m. and I have to get up to go to work the next day. So lots of coffee.
I get yelled up at the stairs. Get the F to me. I'm like, why does it matter? I have my own room. I'm up in my own area of my house.
Yeah.
I used to be like that. It depends on the project, but if I stay up late, I just find myself, because I start work early so much in the morning with the crochet crowd, by the time like around 10 o'clock rolls around, like these loose ends are later in the evening, which I'm not usually working this late, but I find myself, I just get so tired. I'm like, oh my god, because I've eaten and breathed crochet all day.
Yeah. I'm a little bit of a night owl, so usually I'm up and going and everybody else goes to bed, especially, if I just feel like I need a little bit of peace and quiet to myself. And the TV to myself.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
But I know you love it. You'll stay up for these loose ends. You love chatting to people, Mike.
Yes, I do. It's been a great thing this year.
I'm sure a lot of people enjoy it. I know I have.
So one of the things I wanted to steer around is you've also mentioned about your daughter crocheting with you a little bit, and that you were doing things for her dance troupe and all of those other things. Should we throw them under the bus?
Sure.
Okay.
It's a
Go
cute
ahead.
bus.
It's a cute
Would you
one.
say so? All right,
Yeah.
hold on just a second. Let me go grab her.
What's going on?
Oh, you just wait and see.
Yes. Those people at home, what's going on?
Hello, where is she? Hello, Lily. Are you going to jump on the screen right now?
Make her a full screen.
Yeah, there she is. Say
she
hi,
is.
Lily.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm going to pop off so that you have a larger screen so that you can chat with Lily and her mom, of course, because there's been a whole lot of crocheting together, Michael, and I thought maybe you and all of the people watching would really love it.
Yep.
Perfect. Lily, so you're a crocheter now?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
how old are you?
I'm 12.
You're 12. What made you want to try it?
I just saw like how happy my mom was when she did it, so I decided that I would try it too.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was your first lesson? And was your mom patient?
Yeah, I would say she's pretty patient.
We worked on chaining, I think, right?
Mhm.
Chaining, and then
I did the garland for the tree.
Oh, that's right. She chained garland for our Christmas tree.
Fun. So, did you find Lily? Did you find crochet hard, or what would advice to give to another 12-year-old that was thinking about it? What would you say?
I would say in the beginning, like it's easy to get discouraged because it's not always perfect when you first start. But just like keep on trying because now I feel like I've gotten the hang of it and I like it a lot more now.
So, what was the hardest part in the hook? Do you think? What was the hardest part?
I think just like getting the hang of it, to be honest, because as soon as I got a hang of it, I was like flying. But if you're not really that consistent with it and you don't really ever do it and like try, it's not like fun anymore.
Starting over every time.
Yeah.
So did you find yourself when you were chaining, you're just like, oh, I got it now? Like, 'cause my mom showed me how to chain, and I'm like, okay, I don't get it. And then I just like, oh my God, if I just move the hook and this way and turn it a certain way, I can do it. And it just, sometimes mom can tell me to do something, but then it's in my own hands, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Did you find that?
Mhm. Yeah.
So what kind of yarn do you like playing with?
I mainly use, is it like cotton, right?
No, you use acrylic, like the red heart. Yeah.
Yeah, acrylic yarn, because I like to do like bigger projects like blankets and stuff like that.
Wow. So when did you actually learn to crochet then?
Probably been a couple of years.
Yeah, that's like
a couple of years.
So when you were 10 years old?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so backtrack for a sec. So you were 10 years old and you realized that crochet was giving your mom joy. Like that's pretty profound.
Yeah. Yep. She actually made up and designed her own little purse, which I was, I had because like that's something I would have never tried to do. Yeah, I think I was out of town for something, and she was like trying to keep herself busy and entertained, and I come home and she made this little bitty purse, and I was like, whoa. Because I would have never even tried to do that. It was awesome.
So what I'm hearing though is that Lily, you're not looking for permission to create. You're just diving in and just testing yourself and say, what can I do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The neat thing about crochet is that even if you're doing it wrong, if you're always doing it wrong, it's actually right. So it seems like to me, like you just grabbed onto an idea and you're just running for the hills for it.
Yeah. Like,
wow.
I think probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, I did my first Amigurumi project. Mm-hmm. And then she did like a little bumblebee like last year. So
fun. Yeah. Well, when she was 11, so now she's got a million more years of bumblebees to.
Right.
So in a crochet blanket, Lily, what are you looking for to give you joy? What kind of stitches and what's your idea of a crochet blanket?
Right now I'm mainly using double crochets on my blanket, and I like making gifts for other people, so I just like seeing the joy on their face when they get it.
Sure. So how long does it take you to make a blanket? Like you're probably doing it after school?
Yeah, I do like lots of sports and things like that and like extracurricular activities. So I honestly, whenever I find time like that I'm winded down at night, I'll just do that and like watch a movie.
Okay, so you're 12 years old. Your vocabulary is like blowing my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Yep.
God. Like some chat says like you're wise beyond your years. Like your vocabulary is amazing. You must be excellent in school.
Yeah.
She gets straight A's. I'll say it because I gotta be the bragger on her.
I can't say it with me because I was a straight D kind of guy.
Yeah, I wasn't a straight A student, but anyway.
I had so does school give you joy, Lily?
For the most part, yeah, because for me, I'm in a lot of classes with my friends, so that makes it fun too. And we're all like at the same level, so we work together on it a lot. So I get to like share it with them.
So what grade is a 12-year-old in today? Like that's how old I am. I don't remember.
I'm going into 7th grade this year.
Yeah, she'll turn 13. She's kind of older for her class, so she'll turn 13 in a few months.
Okay,
yeah.
So you were in grade then 4.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
In your journey so far, that's amazing. So what does your friends think of you crocheting?
A lot of them don't really know about it, to be honest, because it's not like one of the main things I do. I have a lot of hobbies, but the ones that do know about it have asked me like, "Can you teach me?" And they're like really interested in it.
She actually has a friend too that crochets, and they actually they got together and watched movies and a crochet night a few weeks ago.
Fun,
which is kind of fun.
Fun. Lily, are you inspired by celebrities that wear crochet at all? I've been noticing a lot more of that lately.
Yeah, I've noticed it. I started like a beach cover up not too long ago for our trip that we're going on pretty soon. So there's that, and I think I'm going to bring that on our trip with us.
Fun.
So I kind of got inspiration from that.
Nice. That's a really cool idea. You know, when I was your age, Lily, I actually learned to crochet when I was 14, but I knew crochet. My mom taught me how to chain and double crochet, like kind of what you were doing. And I saw a TV show where there was a granny square blanket. I'm like, there's so much more to crochet. So ultimately, are you trying to build your skills to something else in the future, or just go with it?
I would probably, when I get older, like want to like expand my skills. But for now, I think I'm pretty good where I'm at.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Sorry, your vocabulary is just blowing. She's going to be now the new substitute host for me, honestly.
Isn't she fantastic? She's
absolutely.
I was completely inspired and chatting with her while hearing about her from her mom, and then I had 2 pre-chats with them, and Lily came on and telling me all the creative things that she does, and we were talking about how you can intermingle all the fun things. It's not just because once a crafter or a creative person, always that, and it was incredibly inspiring. I loved our conversation, and I'm so glad you're getting an opportunity to hear and hear from her as well.
Wonderful. Now, do you think your school is going to have a crochet program, Lily?
I'm not sure, because most of our like arts programs are more like ceramics and pottery, but I think in the future, if it becomes bigger at my school, they definitely will.
Nice. Wow. Your mom has basically gifted you something that you're going to carry with for a lifetime, long after your mom is gone, and then you train whoever in your future. I am so impressed of your interest in yarn at your age. It's amazing. I'm so pleased to hear this story.
Yeah. It makes me, I like the fact that even before she learned to crochet, she would ask me to make things for gifts for her, like teachers or friends and different things like that. So I'm glad that like she asked, because she had such an interest in it, and now it's kind of she's starting to do it herself. Like my mom and grandma did the same thing for me too. Like they crochet, knit, sewed, quilted, everything. My mom actually and her used to quilt as well. Wow. Yep. So she would make some quilts with my mom. My mom passed away a few years ago, but but she would make different things with her when she would watch her for me when I was working and stuff. So I'm glad to see that like, she's so interested in the different crafts, and then like especially with crochet, just because that's something that her and I can do together, and she shares it with her friends, and it's kind of just, I don't know, it's one of those things that is just inspiring to a lot of people, by sharing so much. So
what for Marie, what does it mean for you when you're kind of in a quiet moment and you're both crocheting together? Do you ever have that moment saying, my daughter is sitting with me, being creative in this moment?
Yeah, I do. And it brings back memories of my mom and my grandma with me too. So I'm just, I kind of stop for a minute and sit there and just kind of watch her as she's going and just kind of soak it in a little bit and take the moment in and just, um, kind of cherish it, because really life is so busy, and it's like just her and I being able to do something together like that. Like a lot of families and parents don't get to do that, so I feel like I'm very lucky that we share so much.
Especially in today's era. What does it mean for you when you're crocheting with your mom, Lily?
I look at it as like bonding time and just something that we share. So I think it's pretty fun to do with her.
Now, I used to be a step parent for a very short time in my life, and I used to craft with the kids because they never did crafting. And I found those moments where I learned so much about those kids because they don't like quiet and silence, and you just let them speak, no judgment. And it's amazing how you can really kind of understand where they're coming from to be able to be a better parent. So hopefully that's.
Yeah. I think when you share that with kids, it gives them a chance to explore, and like you said, it's they can kind of be whoever they want to be, and they get to experiment and do different things as well, and it just introduces them to so many new things that, like it like you said, today's world is very busy, it's very electronic, and just being able to do any kind of craft, I feel like, is a little bit just letting the kids be able to be their own creativity, kind of express it in a way. Even if it's a kit, they make it their own in some way. So I like that.
So Lily, how do you turn off social? I assume you watch social media, but how do you turn off social media and electronics to crochet? How do you? Because I know as an adult, I find a struggle to always pick up my phone when I should actually be crocheting. What's the secret of doing that?
I like to just kind of almost zone out from it, because when I feel like it's overwhelming sometimes, I just say like I need to put it down because I know I probably shouldn't be on it as much. And sometimes if I'm like kind of struggling with not being able to put it down, I'll turn on like a movie or something to distract me from it.
Wow. Sometimes for me, I just turn my phone upside down because the stupid notifications keep me addicted to the damn thing.
Yep. Put my phone in timeout.
Lily, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you tonight. Thank you for joining my show tonight to kind of just give us perspective from your age group. And I wish you the very best. You seem like you're in great hands with your mom for your future for the yarn arts. That's for sure.
I think she'll surpass me pretty soon.
Yeah, I kind of think so too.
I'll be like,
is this where I say there are zombies waiting for you, Lily?
oh yeah.
There's a zombie show coming up.
Next year, we'll have to do the 25 stockings.
Yes.
Thank you, Lily. I'm so glad you came and joined us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Thanks, kiddo.
Bye.
Bye.
So I will say to you, Maury, wow.
Yeah.
You have done an amazing job of parenting.
Thank you.
I saw my mom and myself within the two of you. Just that connection with just creativity. I am just so inspired. So inspired.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I don't know. I'm very lucky. I feel like I'm very lucky. She's such a good kid and does a lot of things and keeps very busy. And I like the fact that she still likes to hang out with mom. I know that that time is going to be short lived just because life. But I feel like I like the fact that we still have that whether it's, you know, in the car she's crocheting or whatever. I just feel like that connection will always kind of keep us hopefully connected in one way or the other. So
Do you
so
guys like like the same color palettes, or is she her own person where she chooses something that you wouldn't choose?
we most for the most part we like the same color palettes, but sometimes she'll kind of just be like, I want to go get this color, I'm looking for this color, that color, whatever. So but for the most part, a lot of times she likes to read my stash. So
Wow.
and I do share, but you know, reluctantly sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Just hide the good stuff in the oven or wherever she
Right,
does.
right.
What other show and tell, Karen, do we have to see tonight? It's like Karen popped back on. There she goes. Oh, you did that one, the
Yes, I
pinwheel.
did. That was, I think, one of the second or third projects I did with you, like with one of the crochet alongs. That
Yeah.
I never did anything like that before with carrying the yarn through.
Yeah. They told me to create a pattern and then I had like a week to do it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
all right. And I could only use so much yarn. So I was like limited by the yarn. And I'm like, that's the best I could come up with. And I was
yeah,
surprised how many people actually did it.
yeah. I don't know if I shared one that I used a Bernat blanket, but I've did. I think it was the hibernation blanket.
Oh, yes.
I did that one for a wedding gift, and I made one for Lily too, for her room.
Well, it's such an
So
easy pattern. The
it
hibernation blanket.
is.
It's just like boom, boom, boom. I actually just started. I don't have it here. Here it's upstairs, but I started a Catherine wheel stitch in Bernat blanket the other night at stitch night or last night, I suppose. But I was like, that is my favorite stitch of all. What is one of your go tos for stitching?
Um, I do like the waffle stitch a lot, depending on the yarn. Sometimes though, I've made a few Afghans, baby Afghans, and other projects that with the bean stitch.
Oh
Um,
yes.
that's kind of a little bit of a yarn eater, but I don't know. I like the look of it. I've not really done a lot of popcorn stitches at all. Actually, I don't know if I've ever done a popcorn stitch, believe it or not. But I like the bean stitch. I don't know, the little bit of texture, and it kind of separates the stitches a little bit from, you know, whatever's next to it in the pattern. But I do
Yeah.
like that one.
Now
A lot.
Jeannie's the one that taught me how to do the bean stitch because I hadn't really ever heard of that. But
Hmm.
because honestly, if I could wipe a stitch off the face of the earth, it's the puff stitch, and the bean
Yeah,
stitch is a great alternative. So you don't have to wrap that hook the first time. That always snags,
yeah,
and it's like, oh my god. So
yeah.
I
I feel like the bean stitch is still a nice flowing
Mhm.
stitch, and it makes a nice, you know, the pattern and the texture of it is nice to, is good too.
Yeah, and some people say, well, yarn eaters, but
Hmm.
the texture unfortunately takes more,
Yep.
yarn just generally speaking. So you can't have one without the other, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I have a quick question for you for the Bernat blanket. Like when you're connecting, like, you know, the strands, what's your go-to with that? Because I don't. It's such a big yarn. I feel like sometimes when I'm like I have to tie in my ends to keep going, or if I'm changing colors or whatever. I don't know. I'm always fearful it's not gonna look or flow right.
So what I would do with that is that I use what is called as a weaver's knot.
Okay.
Okay. And that is permanent knot. That's the knot that the yarn companies are using when they actually have. You ever notice when they do the yarn companies, you can never undo that knot? It's
Yes.
a it's a weaver's knot. It's like a square
Okay.
knot. And so because of that kind of yarn, the knot actually buries into the fluff of Bernat blanket. So you
Okay.
would see it.
You
And
don't
then
even know it.
pardon me?
You don't even like know it that it's there. Right.
No,
Okay.
and then the tail ends, I leave it long enough so that I can just crochet and bury those tail ends. But then I would use my tapestry needle to be able to weave in those tails. But
Weave
then
it in.
the knot itself is going to hold it from splitting out on itself. But
Okay.
I just got to make sure that you leave enough of a tail so that if there's any stretch in the blanket, it's not going to pop. Because
Yeah, I found that sometimes, a couple of times when I've made like on an Afghan, that the ends pop out a little bit. So I didn't leave them long enough, I guess.
if you can get the yarn to go through the core of anything,
Hmm.
like when I'm weaving in ends, I try to actually split plies, not go between strands, because
Yes.
it's
Yep.
so bloody impossible to get it out once
Yep.
you go between the strands. So that's the hardest thing. A Bernat blanket is one of those. The other thing that you could use, which I have done before too, is you grab this a very similar color of actual thread like
Oh.
a thread, and
Yeah.
you tie a knot around the end of the tail itself and use the thread to pull it in, and then it's going to be that threading that is going to secure that in and hold that tail in permanently.
Yeah. That's a great idea too.
Yeah, so I've done either or, and you're gonna want to do that with when the burnout blanket gets really thick. You know that really thick tube stuff. That's the only way that really holds is getting a thread itself and just to pull it through and using the thread to secure, because the can actually go into the core of burnout blanket, not the fluff.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I just feel like sometimes every once in a while I have a yarn that I'm like, I'm not sure it's gonna stay, and I'm always worried about the ends popping out.
My first blanket I ever did when I was 14. Oh my God. I didn't know how to weave in ends. Mom didn't know how to weave in ends.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I had these god awful knots with all these tails hanging out everywhere. So when I laid the blanket down, I'd have to tuck in my tails underneath. So it wasn't on the top. But, it's part of evolution. You kind of learn as you go.
Yeah.
Because there's so many tips to crochet that it's hard to know what to ask when you're having a problem. Right.
Yeah. And there's so many different strategies or approaches on it too. So it's like, and a lot of times one way might be better than the other, but I think it just depends on the person and what they're comfortable with or what works for them. And there's a lot of variables with what kind of yarn and what they're making and different things like that. So yeah, I'm always curious what people are doing and how they manage.
Now, when I'm programming the crochet crowd, there's some things that I here's my problem, but then how do you end up coming out of it? And so I have a friend called Bruce, and I'm like, Bruce, here's my thing. What is exactly my question that I'm having? He goes, you need to do this and this. And sometimes we lack the vocabulary or the explanation to get to where we need to go.
Yeah.
And I find with crochet, that's kind of a constant journey.
Yeah. Yep. Oh.
Cool. So let's take a look at another one of your projects here. Is that a shrug or a shroud?
It was like a little vest I made. It was like a mandala on the back, and then it went into a vest. Yeah.
Wow. So
do you like take on that one too?
Do you like doing the wearables?
I like doing them. I'm real good at starting them, and then they end up a vest. I don't know why. Like the sleeves, I feel like I always have. They don't turn out the same on both sides all the time. So I do like doing. I like to make wearables, but I feel like I get to a point and then I get a little bit discouraged or just like I put it down for a while. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the sleeves that I'm always nervous about not getting them right or But yeah, but that was an easy one because it just was a circle with some holes in it.
I find with myself with the wearables, I lack confidence that I'm going to be able to complete it and it will look good. And then I don't do nothing with it. I get to a certain point and then I say, okay, I'm never going to be able to finish this and it'll look right. So I just quit.
Yep. I have like 3 of them, I think, right now that are just hanging out in my little project bags or whatever. So
you're doing baby stuff as well?
This was my hairdresser at the time, she was having 2 grandbabies at the same, they were due within like a week or so apart. So she'd asked me to make gifts for them. So I made a little sweater set, and I just made the matching hat. I had extra yarn, so I just made the hat for them.
Well, yeah. I'm all about the pom pom. Was there a symbolization with the yellow stripe going through?
No, just something to change it up, I think. Because I think one of the babies, they didn't know what they were having, so I just kind of wanted to change it up a little bit and just kind of give it a little bit of something instead of just a plain color, or just all of the solid color. I liked the little bit of yellow, a little bit of pop of color there.
My first ever baby sweater I ever did, Marie, was actually a bumblebee baby sweater, and it was this type of pattern, and I changed the color every 2 rows. Yeah. And anyway, it looked really super, super cute, but then people wanted me to teach it, and I was so brand new, I couldn't really do it. But it was kind of neat how a coloring of something like that can just change its whole appearance.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as wearable goes, too, like hats are like my nemesis. I can't. Why? I make them, but like sometimes I feel like, I'm like, I got it, I'm good, and it's like huge or it's too small or just I am better, but for like the longest time, it was, yeah, it was not.
Do you ever gauge it then?
No, I probably
Oh,
should.
that's your problem, sweetie.
I know. I
Oh
know.
my God.
I know. I just like
Oh
to
my
dive
God.
into my
It'll work
project.
out.
I don't want to like fiddle with,
I know that most of the complaints I have on YouTube are people where the hats don't fit. I'm like, "What did you gauge?" And then gauge, and then of course you're gonna have some jackass that says, "Yeah, I gauged." I'm like, "Yeah, please."
no. What?
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
no. Yep.
But the gauge on the ball band is never really the same as what you're doing anyway, because it's so specific to your hands. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is your
Yep.
Amigurumi. Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
what
I made a couple dolls as gifts for my, I'm sorry, say that again.
No. What's the secret of joy? I want to be joyful about Amigurumi. I love it.
Yep.
But I cannot find the joy to actually want to do it.
Yeah, these are like the only 2 dolls that I ever made. I made these for my cousin's daughters. The one on the right, she like absolutely was a gift for one of her daughters. She absolutely loves dolls. They actually asked me like 2 years ago or so to make another one, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll make something else like a blanket or whatever, or a pillow.
I know.
Like,
We'd rather spend 40 hours making a blanket versus something that is so. Oh my God!
I'm like, I've been there, done that, with that stuff. Like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm proud of it, and I'm glad she loves it so much, but I don't know.
You and I are sisters from another mother. Honestly, we've got the same idea. Why do something so simple like baby booties when I could do a whole Afghan that's going to take me forever?
Yeah,
I'll choose the Afghan every time.
Right.
I think it's all the sewing the pieces together that's what gets it with the arrow.
Yes.
Because the arm seems to be in the front of the body like this, and it's like, why can't I even sew properly?
That one doll, it was the hair, like all the curly cues. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a lot.
Somebody's commenting on it right there. Wendy.
Wendy. That's when you take that doll and bang it on. Never mind.
Yep.
Stop it.
More, but
a damn it doll.
Yeah, those.
Yep.
I should really start to make them. We could make a killing around here, Michael.
Yeah.
Well, the Amigurumi is huge around here. All this stuff is local. I've done a couple of items there.
I know. I love those. Those are fun.
They're so sweet. Like they're I just love them.
I like to do the little projects, like the ones that you were shown earlier. I keep thinking maybe I should start doing that. Like I said, I work at a school, and just leave them as like little nuggets for like the kids to find, especially, or to just have them for the kids and to leave them, if they're having a bad day or just something like a little surprise for them to find in the hallway or whatever. But just sitting down and again, doing a million of them, making a million of them is a whole another story, another ball game. So yeah, but I do like the little characters and the like design of them. Like I don't design them, but like Mikey, you designed a lot, and I just think it's fun to be able to give them personality. Like I feel like you've given a lot of your projects like a personality that somebody else would not be do the same thing. So
it's kind of funny. They did the Yarn Inspirations did these fat cats. Do you remember those fat cats?
Yes.
And the eyes look like the cat has been like beaten with a stick.
Oh, those.
And then anyway, I'm like, oh my God. And it's like I am gonna shift the eyes, I'm gonna give it pupils, and I'm like, and then it suddenly looks like it's begging for some food.
Yeah.
And it's the difference of a deer in headlight versus something that's just a smirk or a look or something.
Yeah. I feel like I got into the catnip a little too much. The one look of it is like
And you know what? And I'm not even opposed to making Amigurumi one eye's bigger than the other.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Karen judging.
I'm not judging because that would be something I totally would do.
She judges. She's like,
I'm not judging anything.
Yeah. I've made those little like leggy frogs or whatever. I showed Karen the other day. It was not pretty with the Bernat blanket. And then the eye fell out because the stitches were too big. So I just said, well, it's winking at everybody. Like,
Oh my God. I follow several Facebook groups, and anyway, somebody posted their Amigurumi. Honestly, it looked like it'd been run over by the bus. And anyway, so somebody says, "Is this good enough to give to my boss?" And I'm like, "God, that boss must have been tough on you."
Do you like your boss? Like,
This is how you make me feel at the end of the day.
I don't foresee that leaving the office anytime soon, other than an express in the garbage bin. Anyway, but you never know. Everybody's creativity and what they value is different, right?
Yep.
It is true. Well, I'm thinking this has been one heck of a program tonight. I am so glad that you joined us and shared all of the things. I love that your first project was that Halloween bag that brought you to Michael. Again, it never ceases to amaze me how we all find the crochet crowd and Michael's tutorials and all of that, which is great. Mm-hmm. And that opportunity to talk to Lily, that was wonderful. Thank you.
I don't talk to kids very often. I have a barrier for kids.
Yes.
So I'm very uncomfortable around children. But I'm amazed with their vocabulary at the age of 12.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was kind of the context of the thing. I'm like,
yeah. She's like talking to an adult, really. Probably better than adults sometimes.
Wow. You know what? You're really giving her a good kickstart in life. Like, honestly, my parents taught me a lot of responsibility very early on, like when I was 8. And so I have very much of a drive for success. And I think that has everything to do with parenting. So you're doing something right.
That. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes you never know, you question a lot, but yeah, she's, I'm lucky, and she's a good girl. She's a good kid. So I appreciate that.
There's foundations there, literally chain foundations. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
parents are here all night.
Look at that.
I've had a long day.
Yes.
But it's been absolutely a pleasure to chat with you and get to know you. Thank you so much for sharing your crochet with us and the rest of the crowd here as well. Again, welcome to anyone new joining us with Loose Ends with Mikey and to the crochet crowd. We're not a bad group of people. I think we're pretty supportive of each other.
Oh, you guys are pretty amazing. Yeah. Yep.
Even when we throw each other under the bus, Michael.
Yeah. I keep everybody on their toes. But anybody that's like hesitant to like fill out that form, I suggest it, because I couldn't tell you how many times I filled it out and then I didn't submit it.
Well, I'm glad you took the time. Honestly, I want to hear from regular crocheters, because it's too easy to say, hit a celebrity in the crochet. Yeah, let's talk for the millionth interview. And it's like, I want to hear from people just like you. With the starting foundation story, again, you were sharing with Lily, that is really critical for me to have comprehension on where the crochet crowd needs to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been 17 years, so I want to know where we need to go. And some people think they know where they need me to go to. But I've already got a ticket to that place anyway, so it's okay.
And many of us will see you there.
Yeah. We'll all be in good company.
And we're going to keep the after party in the other place.
There you go. We will be back next week, but we might be changing the time a little.
Yeah, we are.
Well, yes, but it could be interesting because we will be on a sunset cruise at this time next week.
No, but we're going to do it on Wednesday, Karen.
Are we for sure?
Yeah, we're doing it at the resort.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So we're going to do it at the resort. Digby Pines next Wednesday evening, 7 p.m.
Okay. 7 p.m. Eastern, so the same timing, but one day earlier, one day more the fun. But we are so looking forward to meeting a bunch of people. There are 51 crocheters plus us, Michael, on that bus this week.
Wow.
And I'm so excited. We are missing a couple of people, unfortunately, and we will be thinking of them this week. But we are going to have a wonderful time for those other people. There are some of our local stitchers who are going to be joining us as well. well at one of our local hits with that tour group, so they can have the opportunity. And I know a couple of them are watching here tonight, so we look forward to seeing them on our Sunday adventures. And but until next week, when we see you from Digby Pines, we'll take it. Thank you again for joining us tonight. And
Well, thank you so much for having me, and you guys have an amazing time next week.
We will.
I look forward to all the posts and the shares and everything. Look forward to it.
There will be lots on social media. So if you don't already follow the Crochet Crowd on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook,
we'll be following the bus next week. Yeah,
you'll be following the bus. So if y'all join us, hop on. Anyway, thanks everyone. Thank you again, Michael. Thanks, Marie.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We have to do our signature. Maury, hand up.
Oh, yep.
And scene, Redbird.
Ready?
And
And scene.